Hello and welcome back to my garage. Today in the shop, my mother's car. Yes, it is the time of year again, and last year I believe it went through without any problems. And what I mean by that is the annual safety check that is required here in the Netherlands or in Holland. And last year there was no problems. I didn't have to do anything with the car. This year we do need a couple of things. And one of these things are, well, some new springs. I already have done the passenger side, so now we are going to do the driver side. It is not a really complicated job. The only thing you really need to have are some spring compressors. Something like these. And yeah, these were pretty cheap when I bought them, and I have them for a really long time. I do think maybe 15 or maybe even 20 years. I don't know exactly, but I have them for a really long time now. I did a lot of sets with them, and I do believe I said it before that I definitely need to replace these for some other ones. And that's true. I should have bought some new ones or a better unit, because it makes life a lot easier. But then again, this works. It works perfectly. It can be a little bit of a hassle and a safety issue thing. Is that a thing? Well, you have to be careful with these. You don't want to get summer teeth in winter. You need a set of these or something similar. Other than that, it is a quite straightforward job. It is probably better to get also a new top bearing and maybe some, well, there is some rubber thingy on the bottom and on the top. It is probably better to also replace that. I did not buy those. Yeah, I do. For some reason, every time again, when I do springs, for some reason I just forget them. Hopefully it doesn't bite me in the ass later on, that I have to, well, remove it again and replace those things. So, oh well, luckily it isn't too difficult to do. So, I'm not going to waste your time any further. Let's get these things on the car. Well, these are the brakes we replaced a couple of years ago. I do believe these were from Roadhouse, I believe. And as you can see, they're just worn quite nicely. And it still looks in pretty good shape, so it is holding up fine. But that's not why we're here. We need to replace the spring, and the reason is that it is just broken off somewhere. I do think at least the other one was broken at the top, so I do think this one also. So let's remove it. It is quite easy. You just have to remove 3 bolts, or 2 bolts and 1 nut. Well, these 2 bolts and the nut at the top. So let's remove this one first, or maybe the ABS sensor thingy to the side, so we don't forget that. And these are 18. Hopefully this all doesn't take too much time, at least it should not take too much time. Because I have an appointment with the stepdad of Kevin. Is it the stepdad of Kevin? You know, the guy with that Alfa Romeo that's sitting here collecting dust. Well, like my other projects, of course. And, well, his half-sister, well, let's call it just brother and sister, just for the sake of a normal conversation. And, well, she is going to school to be a car mechanic. So that's cool. And even more cooler is that she bought a project car. a Toyota Celica, the T20. No, nothing's fancy like the ST205. Yeah, I had one of those cars. It's absolutely a great car. Little bit sad that I sold it, but to be honest, then I could probably not bought this my house with this shed with this garage with it. So sometimes you have to make sacrifices for for your life. So, but other than that, she bought a project car, and that's a Toyota Celica. I don't know exactly what he wants from me. The only thing is that he wanted to that I inspect the car a little bit, so they can maybe, because she's still learning, of course. He asked me that I just take a quick look at the car, and let's see what I think about it. So yeah, maybe we see some videos about that here. Who knows? I don't know. Hopefully it doesn't have too much rust. It does have some rust, so that's always a bummer. Yeah, this really hurts. Didn't I say that it was easy? The other side was just... oh well. Heat is probably my best friend here. The problem is that my torch died on me. I have a feeling I am going to snap this bolt. Like I said, heat is your friend. Just be careful, because that ABS line is here. And of course, this is a pressurized shock, so you don't want to heat that up too much. Don't forget that that thing is hot. So hopefully the bottom one isn't that stubborn. And this is a 21. So don't be scared, just drive it off, because the spring is held in with a other net that is on there. So this thing is from the top. There is just a little bit of a bushing thing. Nothing too special. Yeah, the nut is part of that whole thing. So, and now we can take off the shock itself. Be careful, of course, with that ABS wire. and this is a 17. Don't do what I do now. Well, don't undo it all the way, because it's not safe to do it like this. If you want to do it the safe way, you do place those clamps on it now and remove it. I am going to do the lazy way, and I'm going to run it down with impact, and it's probably going to shoot the other way. I'm a little bit of haste. As you probably can see, this thing is broken right here. If I get the other spring as well, they're both broken on the top. This one a little bit worse than this one. I got the clamps in place. What I'm going to do is, well, maybe it's a good idea to get a blanket on there. If something happens, then it definitely going to absorb the some energy. And of course, I'm going to use a face mask. I do think it's almost good enough. Here we have, of course, the dust boot. Well, it's not in the best of shape, but it has to do. And then we have to pull this thing as high as we can. The order is, well, first this cap, after the spring of course. Then we have here the bushing. It's going with the flange to the bottom. Then this thing. And there should be a bearing. Like this. It's going on top. And then of course our nut. It's going to be on top of that. The wider side to the bottom, there is a little notch that has to sit right here. Of course, never ever put your head above this. I'll get our stack. This thing. Pushing this thing on top with the bearing in it, and just a couple of threads should be enough. Then you can put in a Allen on top of it, so the shaft doesn't spin. And this is a Allen 6. So let's get it into a comfortable so what we're now going to do is remove those clamps. There is also a indentation right here. Hopefully you can see that, and that is where the end of the spring has to sit. So I'll just turn it to the end, just like so. And now we can take off these clamps. Be sure that the spring is going into the right place. But of course now my clamp is underneath that thing. Still in its place, so that's good. Of course now we need to be sure that that nut is all the way down. Our strut is now done, so we can put it back where it belongs. Oh, don't pull too much on this hub, because you can dislocate the gearbox CV joint, so you don't want to do that. So be a little bit careful. Oh, that's handy. If I just unclipped it here, I just had a little bit more room. You probably are going to get into a little bit of problem getting this in there. What you want to do is just, well, in my case, just a tire iron, and just push it down a little bit, and that will give you the space you need to get the bolt in there. What you of course could do is first put a nut on top. It just helps you out a little bit, but maybe I'm going to struggle a bit, just for fun. So let me put the nut on top. I'm not going to fasten it all the way, just that it's hanging in its place. I did clean up the bolts with just a normal wire brush. Well, I'm going to just use a screwdriver as a lady slipper. And of course I'm going to use some anti-seize, well in this case ceramic grease, on these bolts. Be sure that you don't forget to tighten up the top one if you're not already done that. And just tighten it up. And this one is of course, what was it, 6. Just tighten it down. And there you have it, how to change some springs on a Renault Clio Model 2. It is just a straightforward job. Most cars it's just almost the same, just a little bit different, so now and then, especially with how the top stuff is located. But other than that, just be careful, especially with those well, those cheap clamps. Like I said, I do have them for 15 or maybe even 20 years. They work fine. You don't have to have a special tool, but I do think I already mentioned it maybe some videos ago. I definitely needed to get some new ones because these are definitely getting some wear on them. So maybe I'm going to get a more fancier device because those things are a little bit finicky. So it works just fine, but they're finicky and you have to be careful. You don't want to get your face blown up with one of those. So yeah, springs broken, happens, just fix it. I don't know what to say more about that. Yeah, maybe get yourself some new stuff instead of only springs. Also the top bearings, those can go bad. These were just okay. I did not feel anything wrong with them. So yeah, it's just a better thing to do when you already have this loose. But like I said, I just forgot for some reason. I always forget those stuff for some reason. But yeah, that's it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed it or at least learned something from it. And if you did, please give the like. And if you want to follow me around, you know what to do. And I will see you next time. Bye.